thinking of a hurricane was the last thing on my mind, right up until that thing got into the Gulf and started headed toward Texas.
The very first 5 minutes of a crisis determines the next 5 hours.
We realized really quickly that we weren't going to have any control over what type of people we were going to be getting for the shelter.
People that came on, they were on oxygen, diabetics that didn't have insulin, situations like that we weren't prepared to have to deal with.
Then I'll never forget the people asking, where's the towels? I mean, this is not a Holiday Inn. You're supposed to bring your own.
You have to deal with the immediacy of it, and we had all hands on deck.
Rita was a complete surprise to our community, and I don't think anybody was prepared for what came to the schools.
There was not a single city block in the city of Kirbyville that had a running strand of power line.
For the next 2 weeks, we just dealt with issues related to no gasoline, no electricity, and no plumbing.
When a crisis occurs, you don't think, you react.
I'll never forget Rita, that's for sure. Never dreamed anything like this, would come through or would have this much impact.
It's taking $180,000 per day to educate the students who have come from Louisiana.
When everybody left and the buses rolled away, it hit me like a rock at that point. I got emotional and I cried.
These are the lessons that Texas schools learned from Hurricanes Katrina and Rita. We're sharing the mistakes, the successes, and the surprises so we can all learn from each other and improve. In August 2005, Hurricane Katrina made landfall east of New Orleans, devastating Louisiana, Alabama, and Mississippi. Hundreds of thousands of evacuees sought shelter in Texas.
You're prepared for a student to move into your district and be a new student, but are you prepared for a student that comes that has no records, that have no school supplies, that are living most likely in a church gym because that's the evacuation site, and all the problems that come with that?
Our student council at the high school anointed them as student council members, even though they hadn't been elected. And so we had a welcoming of those students because our students were thinking they would feel displaced and alienated and all of that, and wanted them to feel welcome.
Other Texas school districts were asked to send resources to Louisiana. More than 27,000 evacuees were bused to Houston's Convention Center and Harris County's Reliant Park Complex. Within 9 days, Houston ISD registered and enrolled more than 5,000 new students. Statewide, evacuee enrollments reached 45,000 students. Area districts were asked to send school counselors to shelters to help families face the trauma of losing homes, jobs, and loved ones.
And I'm searching for 5 of my family members.
But a second threat loomed out in the Gulf. Hurricane Rita forced millions of Texas residents and Katrina evacuees to be evacuated further inland.
After having tried to help the evacuees and the victims of Katrina, then our own people became victims with Rita.
The food situation, they expected us to feed them, and this happened on a Friday. We're a school district, we don't carry commissary, so by Friday our inventory, our food products are pretty much depleted.
We welcomed about 4,000 overnight guests with us, and we were able to do that and still maintain school for our kids. We actually didn't close our school.
Half of my parents, if I close my schools, can't go to work because they're poor. They don't have alternative. So I got to not close my schools unless it's absolutely necessary because I hurt the economy.
I think think best practices that I'd like to share would be communications. It was very important for us to get a consistent message out to all of our locations because we opened up